Hi, I'm David Greene with the Florida Pain Network, where we connect those in pain with the best pain relievers in the state, including pain management clinics, chiropractors, and physical therapy practices. The topic for today is Mythbusters. I'm doing a whole series of these, and this I think is part 2 or 3, but there's so many myths out there on back pain that it does a huge disservice to patients who actually have back pain and are unfortunately getting misinformation from a lot of these myths that are out there. So I'm going to go through 5 myths, and we'll talk about whether they're real or I need to debunk the myth. So what's the first one? The first one is injury. A lot of people think they have to have had an injury to their back to have back pain. And the answer is that is a true myth, and it needs to be debunked. Because what happens with degenerative disc disease and arthritis is a lot of times it's luck of the draw. And that draw is genetics. So you can thank your parents or your grandparents if you've never had a car accident, never done big time sports, contact sports, and if you haven't had a big trauma, if it just came on out of the blue, a lot of times that is unfortunately your genetic pool in life. And there's a lot we don't know. There's some environmental factors, there's some social factors, but you don't have to have had an injury to have really bad chronic back pain. All right, so that's the first myth. The second one is exercise. A significant amount of people do think that exercise is harmful to a person with back pain. That is a myth. Exercise can be extremely beneficial to somebody with back pain. They've done studies looking at individuals with degenerative disc disease and how they did with various different types of exercise. And they found that the best type of exercise for degenerative disc disease was aerobic. And it wasn't necessarily jogging, because jogging can be pretty tough with how much stress it puts on your low back, because you keep pounding more than 2 times your body weight every time you run. But cycling and swimming are great for low back as far as exercise goes for helping with your back pain. So as whether or not people who exercise causes more back pain, you know, it's going to depend. But the myth I'm talking about is exercise bad for those who have back pain? And that is just not true. It's very good, okay? So the third one that I want to talk about is mattresses. A lot of people think that a firm mattress is definitely better for somebody who's dealing with back pain, and that is a myth. It's going to be an individualized type of thing. There was a Spanish study done recently that did show that medium firmness mattresses actually were better for their study population than stiff, firm mattresses. So that goes against that myth. I mean, I knew that already, but the study kind of backed it up. So it's just going to be an individualized kind of a thing, whether or not a soft, medium, or firm mattress is the best. The last myth I wanted to go through today is actually 2 sort of in one. You know, a lot of people think that if you're thin, you're precluded from having back pain. And that is just a myth. It's not true. Why is that? It's the same reason I discussed earlier, is that genetics has a large part to do with whether or not you're going to be afflicted with back pain. Don't forget, over 30 million people in this country are dealing with back pain on a daily basis. That's like 10% of the population. A third of the population deals with chronic pain. That was shown last year in a study from the Institute of Medicine. Huge numbers. I mean, that's over 100 million Americans. It's insane. Okay? So genetics are a huge part of it. You could be thin, overweight, obese. It doesn't matter. You can have back pain. Okay? And that actually brings me to the last myth, which is patients who are overweight or obese have more pain than those who don't. And that is true. That's not a myth. That's actually true. Large study out of Stony Brook University this past year looking at over 1 million patients who either they classified into being overweight or 3 different categories of obesity, and the overweight patients had like a 30% higher incidence of pain, but then as it went up, it was unbelievable. The highest category of obesity had a 250% increase in the amount of pain that those patients had in their backs and other areas. So there you have it, some few myths debunked, one actually confirmed. I'm David Greene with the Florida Pain Network. Your pain stops here.